Welcome to MCV Learning. Today you are going to learn about fractions. What do you know about fractions? Okay, now I am going to teach you about that. Fractions. Do you know this word? Yes, I think already you have heard about this. Now you just imagine your father bought a cake. Your father bought a cake and you want to divide among your family members. Okay, now you just imagine there are 4 members in your family. Now we are going to divide this cake into 4 pieces. Okay, now we divided into 4 parts. If you take your part, now you are taking your part. Okay, how can we express it? There was a whole one, of that we divide into 4 parts. That whole one we divide into 4 parts. You have, how many parts are there? 4. Altogether there are 4 equal parts. And you took 1 part. So that part you want to put up. So this is the part that you taken from the cake. How can we read this? We can read this one as 1/4. Okay children, can you understand that? So 1 out of 4 we can read as 1/4. Are you clear? Okay. Now you just think, what is this children? This is a square. And I have divided them into 4 equal parts. Can you understand? Okay. Now if I cut out one part, now see this. First there was a whole one. After that I took one part. How can we call this one part? Altogether 4 parts. I took 1 part. So I can call this one as 1/4. Now when we see this 1/4, generally we call that one as quarter. 1/4 generally we call as quarter. Okay, like that you just imagine, if your mother bring a piece of cake, your mother brings a piece of cake and you want to share that with your brother. So you have to divide this into 2 equal parts. You want to divide this into 2 equal parts. And if your brother eats one piece, we can call he ate half of it, because there were 2 parts, he ate 1 part. So we can call that one as half of the cake. So how can we read this? We can read this as 1/2. We can call this one as 1/2. Are you clear children? Okay children. Now earlier also I told you, now this is a whole one and we put 1 part from it and now it's remaining like this, no? So how can we write this one as a fraction? For that, first you want to write the number of parts. How many parts were there? 4. And we removed 1, no? Now it remaining 3 parts. So we have to write it up. So how can we read this one? Okay, we can read this one as 3/4. We can call this one as 3/4. Or as we can call this one as 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Or else we can write 3 upon Are you clear, children? Okay, now I think you are very familiar with this number. Okay, so like this, in general form we call this one as 3/4. Okay, now this is the summarize. Okay, now we divide one cake piece into two parts, and if you eat one part we can call that one as 1/2 or half of it. After that we took a cake and we divide it into four parts, and if you take one part we can call that 1/4. That part we can call 1/4 or quarter. Okay, after that we took the same cake and you took one cake. Now there are some remaining things are there, no? So that one we can call as 3/4, not 3/4, 3/4, or else 3 out of 4. 3/4, and in the general form we call that one 3/4. 3/4. Are you clear, children? Okay, children. Now we are going to find the definition for fractions. Now can you see these pictures? Yes. Now this is a whole one and I have divided it into 8 equal pieces. This is a triangle. I have divided it into 4 parts. What is this? Yes, this is a rectangle. I have divided this into 5 parts. Okay, children. Now if I colored one part of this circle, how can I write this? How many parts are there? There are 8 parts and I have colored one part. So I can write that one as 1 out of 8 or 1/8. Okay. Then if I color one part of this one, how can I write it? First you want to write the number of parts. There are 4 equal parts and I have colored one part. So I can call that one as 1/4. Are you clear, children? Okay. Now this one. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 equal parts. If I color 2 parts, okay, I will color it. So how can we write this? Altogether 5 parts are there. I colored 2 parts. So I have to put 2 up. So how can we read this one? 2/5. 2/5. 2/5. Or we can call that one as 2 out of 5. Okay. Now those all are fraction. Actually, children, what is the meaning of fraction? Fraction means part of a whole. Fractions mean part of a whole. Can you understand that? Part of a whole, because first we took a whole one. After that we divided to parts and after that we took one part or 2 parts from it. Are you clear about the fractions? Okay, children. Now we are going to learn about proper fractions. What do you know about proper fractions? Have you heard that word earlier? Okay. Now I am drawing a cake again and I am dividing into 4 equal parts. And if I take one part, I can write that one as 1/4. Okay. So look at this number. That down number is bigger than the up number. this down number is bigger than the up number. This type of fraction we can call as proper fraction. Proper fraction means, children, always down number is bigger than the up number. Okay, I'll take some examples. Okay. How can we write this one as a fraction? So first you won't write total number of parts. There are 4 equal parts. I have colored 3 parts there. So I can put 3 up. Now look at this. This 4 is bigger than, this 4 is bigger than 3. Okay, so this type of fraction we can call as proper fractions. Are you clear, my children? Okay. Now, okay. Can you see this one? Yes. What is this? This is a square shaped thing, no? Okay. How many parts are there? There are 9 parts. How many parts are there? 9 parts. Okay. If I color 5 parts, I have colored 5 parts. How can we write this one as a fraction? I have written the total number. Now I have to write the colored parts. I have colored 5 parts. So I can read this one as 5 out of 9 or 5 upon 9. So this one also we can take as proper fraction. Why? Because down one is bigger than up one. Are you clear? Okay. Not only that. Now this one we can divide into 2 parts. If I color 1 part, I can write this one as 1/2 or 1 out of 2. So this one also a proper fraction. Are you clear, my children? Okay. Now I am going to give some small activity for you. Okay, children. Now we are going to do an activity. You want to fill this table using with these 3 figures. Figure A, number of equal parts. How many parts are there in figure A? You have to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number of equal parts of figure A is 6. There are 6 equal parts. Number of colored parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts have colored. 4. So how can we write this one as fraction? There are 6 parts and 4 parts have color. So we can call that one as 4 out of 6. Okay, children. Now we are going to do the second one. Okay, now I need your help. Number of equal parts. How many parts are there? Shall we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many parts are there? 10 parts. Okay. Now we are going to find the number of colored parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then there are 7 colored parts. So, how can we write this one as a fraction? Down, you have to write the number of equal parts. And you want to draw a line. Above the line, you have to write the number of colored parts. 7. Okay, children? Okay. How can we read this? We can read this one as 7 out of 10. Are you clear? 7 out of 10. Okay. See, how many equal parts are there? There are 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 equal parts. Of that number of colored parts, how many colored parts are there? Only 1. So you have to put 1 here. Now we want to write that one as a fraction. There are 4 parts are there and 1 part has colored. So we can call that one as 1/4, 1/4 or 1 out of 4. Are you clear, children? Okay. Now these 3 fractions we can call as proper fraction. How can we call that one as proper fraction? Because always this down number is bigger than upper number. Are you clear? Okay, children. Now I think you are very clear about this fraction. Now you can do the exercise 9.1 and I will give you the answer through our website. Okay, children. Now I am going to do the next part. Now I am going to teach you about the denominator, and the numerator of a fraction. What do you know about this? Have you heard this word? Denominator and numerator. Denominator and numerator. Okay. When we talk about a fraction, fraction has 2 parts. When we talk about a fraction, fraction has 2 parts. If I write like this, it has 2 parts. 2 whole number and a line. Okay. Now, if we talk about this down number, what is this? That's a special name for this. We call this one as denominator. Okay, children, you can keep this in your mind like this. Down denominator. Down denominator. Below the line, that number we call as denominator. Okay, then what is this number? What is this number? Okay, this is number 1. We can call that one as numerator. We can call this number as numerator. Okay, I think now you are clear about denominator and the numerator. Down number, denominator, and the up number we can call as numerator. Are you clear, children? Okay, good. Now, look at these 3 fractions. Okay, now how can we read this fraction? 2 out of 3. How can we read this fraction? 6 out of 5. How can we read this fraction? 8 out of 9. Okay, now here What is the denominator of this fraction? 3. What is the numerator of this fraction? 2. Here, what is the denominator of this fraction? 5. What is the numerator of this fraction? 6. What is the denominator of this fraction? 9. What is the numerator of this fraction? 8. I think now we are very clear about denominator and numerator of a fraction. Okay. The number written below the line. The number written below the line is known as denominator. The number written below the line. Can you see this line? Okay, denominator we write below that line. So we call that one as denominator. Okay. The number written above the line is known as numerator. The number written above the line we known as numerator. This is the line and we write above it. So this is the numerator. Okay. Now I am going to teach you unit and proper fraction. Okay. Now proper fraction I have taught earlier, but now I am going to teach the proper fraction using with this denominator and numerator. Unit fraction and proper fraction. Now if we talk about this unit fraction. Okay children, have you heard this word unit? What is the meaning of unit? Unit mean one like that, no? So unit fraction mean when we write a fraction, it has two parts, no? Denominator and the numerator. When we talk about this unit fraction, always this numerator must be 1. This denominator can take any number, but numerator always must be 1. For example, 2 out of 1. It means always this numerator must be 1. 1 out of 7. 1. Here look at this numerator. In the numerator we have written 1. So these two we can call as unit fraction. Okay. Now earlier I told you when we talk about the proper fraction, in the proper fraction denominator is bigger than numerator. Okay. Now 1 out of 2, 1 out of 7. Now these two fractions we can take as unit fractions. Okay children, now you remember that I have taught you about proper fractions, no? Okay, when I talk about the proper fraction I told you always denominator must be bigger than numerator. When we talk about these two fractions, look, now you can see 2 and 1, 7 and 1. In here also denominator is bigger than numerator. So these two fractions we can take as proper fraction also. It means all the unit fractions we can take as proper fraction. Are you clear children? All the unit fractions we can take as proper fractions. Okay. Now I am going to teach you about proper fractions. Okay. Now look at these two fractions. 1 out of 2 and 5 out of 8. 1 out of 2 and 5 out of 8. Now these two mean this is the denominator. 1. This is the numerator. When we talk about the proper fraction, denominator is bigger than numerator. Numerator is smaller than. Numerator is smaller than denominator, or denominator is bigger than numerator. We can write this in two ways. We can write this in two ways like this. Okay. Now tell me, what is the denominator? 2. This 2 is bigger than 1. We can write like this using with this symbol. This open side shows the bigger side. Okay. Now let us explain 4 out of 6 in term of 1 out of 6. Now children, if I take one part from this, how can I write this one as a fraction? There are 6 parts and I took one part from it. So I can write this one as 1 out of 6. But now they ask 4 out of 6. I want to explain it using with this 1 out of 6. 4 out of 6 I want to explain using 1 out of 6. It means if I write 4 out of 6, it means there are 4 parts like this. There are 4 1/6 parts are there. Okay children, if I want to explain this 4/6 using with this 1/6, so I need like this 4 parts. So I can write like that 4 1/6. Are you clear children? Okay, I'll take another example. 2/3. What is this? 2/3. Now I am going to explain this 2/3 using with 1/3. Okay. Okay. Now I'll draw a circle. Now I want to divide this into 3 equal parts. Okay. Now if I color one part, so I can call as 1/3. But now I want to show 2/3. It means I have to color like this 2 parts. Okay. So 2/3 I can write as 2 1/3. Are you clear children? 2/3 I can write as 2 1/3 because this 2/3 means it contains 2 1/3 parts. Are you clear children? Okay. Now we are going to talk about equivalent fraction. For that I am going to do some activity. You also can do this activity with me. For that you need 2 circles. You have to draw 2 circles. Okay. Now first circle you want to divide into 2 parts. First circle we have to divide into 2 parts. Okay children? Okay. Then we have another one. So we want to divide that circle into 4 parts. We want to divide this circle into 4 parts. Are you clear children? Okay. Now I am going to color one part from this first circle. I am going to color one part. Okay. Are you clear? You also can do this one with me. Okay. So I can write this one as 1/2. or 1 out of 2. Okay, now I am going to color the next circle, second circle. Now I want to color 2 parts from this circle. I want to color 2 parts. Okay. How can I write that one? First you want to write the total number of parts. There are 4 equal parts and I have colored 2 parts from it. So 2. Now when you comparing these two, what can you tell about those two shapes? Okay, you have to observe it carefully. Now look at this. This one also half of the picture has color. In here also half of picture has color. It means in here we have colored 1 part. In here we have colored 2 parts. But finally these both are equal to each other. So we can call this 1/2 and 2 out of 4 as equivalent fraction. Are you clear? Okay, this 1/2 and 2 out of 4 we can call as equivalent fractions. Okay, now such fractions which represent the same value although they have different denominators are known as equivalent fractions. Now look at this. When we talk about the denominators, that to have 2 different numbers but it shows the same value. So we can call that 1/2 and 2 out of 4 are equivalent fractions. Okay, now I am going to teach you how to write equivalent fraction. Okay, now I am going to give you a fraction. Okay, now I am going to give you a fraction and you are going to find a equivalent fraction to this given fraction. So how can you find that? Okay, first I will show that using with figures. Okay, now this one we can call as 1/2 no. And again I am drawing a circle. And now I can divide this into 8 equal parts. I can divide this into 8 equal parts. Okay, now I divided this into 8 equal parts. So now I want to color half of it. This no, I want to color half of this shape. Okay, so I have to color this side. No, I want to color this half. No, so how many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you want to color half of this picture, I have to color 4 parts from it. Okay, it means altogether there are 8 parts and I have to color 4 parts to get half of it. Okay children, it means now 1 out of 2 and 4 out of 8 are equivalent fractions. Okay, now look at this. Now 2 becomes 8 and this 1 becomes 4. Okay, if you observe these two numbers, what can you tell? Can you tell something? Can you see some common thing in here? Okay, now children, 2. If you want to convert this 2 into 8, okay, if you want to convert this 2 into 8, how can you convert it? Okay, 2 times 4, no, 2 times 4, 2 times 4, 8. Okay, now 1 into 4. How can you convert 1 into 4? So you have to multiply 1 by 4. Okay children, it means now we have multiplied denominator and numerator both in the same number to get equivalent fraction. 2 into 4 and 1 into 4. Are you clear? Then we can get equivalent fraction for the given fraction. Are you clear? Okay. I'll take another example. Okay. Now I'm going to write the equivalent fraction for this 2 out of 3. So I can multiply this both the denominator and numerator by a number to get a equivalent fraction. So I can multiply 3 by 5. I will take number 5. I am going to multiply this 3 by 5. Okay. Now what I am going to find? An equivalent fraction. If I multiply this denominator by 5, numerator also want to multiply by the same number. So this numerator also want to multiply by 5. 3 times 5. What is the answer? 15. 3 times 5, 15. Okay. Then 2 times 5. 2 times 5 mean 10. Are you clear? It means to get equivalent fraction, we multiply both the denominator and numerator by the same number. So very easily you can get an equivalent fraction. Okay. Now children, if they are given like this number, how can you write an equivalent fraction? Okay, in this time we can divide both the denominator and numerator by same number. Okay, not only multiplying, dividing also we can use to find an equivalent fraction. Now this both the number we can divide by number 5. This both the number can divide by number 5. Okay, now 25 divided by 5. 25 we want to divide by 5. How many 5s in 25? How many 5s in 25? 5 5s are there. It means 25 divided by 5 means the answer also 5. Okay. Then after that you want to divide 15 by 5. You want to divide 15 by 5. How many 5s in 15? Yes, there are 3 5s in 15. So you have to write 3. Are you clear children? 3 out of 5 is an equivalent fraction to 15 out of 25. Okay. Now it means if you want to find an equivalent fraction, we can use multiplying method or dividing method. It means both the denominator and numerator want to multiply by same number, both the denominator and numerator we want to divide by same number. So very easily you can get the equivalent fractions. Okay children, now we are going to learn about compaction of fractions. Okay, now first I am going to teach you about what is mean this comparison. Okay, now can you see this coconut tree and mango tree? Okay, now when we compare these two, you can see this coconut tree is but taller than the mango tree. This coconut tree is taller than the mango tree. It means we are comparing their height. Are you clear? Okay. First we are going to compare the fractions having the numerator as 1. Okay. Comparison of fractions having the numerator as 1. Okay. Now look at this. If they give these two fractions to compare, how can you compare that? It means you want to find the bigger one. You want to find the bigger one. Okay, first I'll help you to solve this using with the pictures. Okay, now I have drawn two circles. If you want to get half, so you want to divide this into two parts and you can color one. Okay, to get 1/8, we want to divide this into 8 parts and you want to color one. Now you can compare these two circles. No, now you can compare these two circles. No, look at this part and look at this part. What can you tell? It means this half shows this half is bigger than this part. This part is bigger than this part. It means when we comparing like this unit fraction, if the denominator is bigger, it shows the small part. It means if the fraction has a big denominator, it means it shows a small part. And now look at this, 2 is smaller than 8. 2 is smaller than 8. It means this 1 out of 2, it shows the bigger part. It means this 1 out of 2 is greater than 8 out of 1. 1 out of 2 is greater than 1 out of 8. Are you clear, children? Okay. Do I want to do another example? Okay. Now look at this. Now 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 11. 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 11. Okay. Now you want to think. Now 5 is smaller than 11. 5 is smaller than 11. Okay. It means 1 whole 1 we want to divide into 5 parts. But in here, 1 whole thing we want to divide into 11 part. Okay. It means smaller denominator shows the bigger part. The fraction with smaller denominator shows the bigger fraction. Are you clear? It means this 1 out of 5 is bigger than 1 out of 11. Okay. Now we are going to learn about comparison of fractions having the same numerator. Earlier time we used numerator as 1. Now 3 out of 2 and 5 out of 2. Now look at this. Both the fractions have same numerators. Okay. So how can we solve this type of fractions? How can you find the bigger fraction? Okay. We have to use the same method in here also. Now look at this. If we want to get the two whole things in here, we have to divide that whole thing into 3 parts and we have to color 2 parts from it. Okay. After in here we have to divide this into 5 equal parts and we have to color 2 part of it. Okay, children. Now you can see these 2 parts are bigger than these 2 parts. Okay, these 2 parts are bigger than these 2 parts. No, it means the fraction with smaller denominator. The fraction with smaller denominator gives the bigger fraction. Are you clear? The fraction with smaller denominator gives the bigger fraction. It means we have to put like this. It means I told you earlier, this open side shows the bigger side. It means this 2/3 is bigger than 2/5. Okay children, always you want to keep this in your mind. Smaller denominator gives the bigger fraction. Okay, at that time you must have same denominators. Okay children, okay, I'll give some examples. Okay. Now we are going to compare 4 out of 8 and 4 out of 7. Okay. Now you can go through this method. 8 and 7. 7 is the smaller number. So 7 is smaller than 8. It means this 4 out of 7 is the bigger fraction. So we can draw this symbol. Okay. Now what about this one? 5 out of 9 and 5 out of 6. 5 out of 9 and 5 out of 6. In here also, what are the denominators? 9 and 6. Okay, if you want to find the bigger one, you want to find the small denominator. 6 is smaller than 9. So, with the smaller denominator gives the big fraction. So, you have to draw like this symbol. You have to draw the symbol like this. Are you clear? Okay, now we are going to compare the fractions with same denominators. Comparison of fractions having same denominators. Okay, 7 out of 8 and 7 out of 4. I think already you know about the denominator. Denominator is the down number, no? So, both the denominators are same. Okay, both the denominators are same. It means 7 out of 1 means that one part you want to divide into 7 part and you want to take one part out. In here, the same thing happened, but the parts are changed. Here, you want to take a whole one and want to divide into 7 parts and you want to take 4 parts out. Now in here, if the two denominators are same, you want to think about the numerators. Okay, if the numerator is big, if some fraction has a big numerator, it means that fraction shows the bigger one. Are you clear? It means here we have one part, but here we have 4 parts. It means this is the bigger fraction. So we want to write like this. Are you clear? It means if the fraction has the bigger numerator, that fraction we can take as the bigger one. Okay children? Okay. Now 3 out of 1 and 3 out of 2. Okay. Now when we compare these two fractions, 1 out of 3 and 2 out of 3. Okay. Now here we can draw the pictures to describe this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. In here also we have to draw 1, 2, 3. In here we have to color only one part. But in here we have to color 2 parts. Okay, 1 out of 3 and 2 out of 3. It means this 2 out of 3 is the bigger fraction. So we can write like this. It means 2 out of 3 is bigger than 1 out of 3.